Good morning, church. It's good to be with you today. And today I think we have one of the hardest teachings in the New Testament from Jesus' mouth. He says, "Now great crowds were traveling with him, so he turned to them and said, 'If anyone comes to me and does not hate his own father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not bear his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple.'" And finally, he says, "In the same way, therefore, every one of you who does not renounce all his possessions cannot be my disciple." That's after a discourse on counting the cost. Three reasons you couldn't be a disciple of Christ. One, if you love anyone more than him. Two, if you aren't willing to give up your own life. And three, if you won't renounce everything that you own. So all of our family relationships, all our material possessions, and our very own life is submitted to the Lord our God. And he says, if you're not willing to give up these things, you can't even be my disciple. So what do we do? And I think the trigger for this teaching is what is very interesting. He says, "Now great crowds were traveling with him. So he turned to them and said," they loved the miracles. They loved how he battled with the Pharisees. His teachings on grace and mercy were astounding to them. To see the power of this man, the crowds were, of course, just coming after him. And so Jesus turns and he lays out what it really looks like to pursue him. Jesus never anticipated that crowds and throngs of people would be coming, though that is his desire. But he says it's a narrow door. The path is narrow. It's hard to follow after him. The teachings are such that, like we heard yesterday, they began to ask, can anyone be saved at all? The disciples ask him this too after his teaching on marriage. They say, well, who could do this? Who can be saved then? But his response to that is our response to this. Who can do this? Jesus says, with God, with man, this is impossible. But with God, all things are possible. How does Jesus teach about this in other places? By telling us about the nature of the kingdom of heaven. He says it's like a treasure buried in a field, that a man got rid of everything to go get it because he knew the value of that treasure. It's like a pearl that somebody sold all their belongings to go get it. Did they lose anything? No, they gained. Did it look like foolishness because of the loss? Of course, to the world it did, but what was gained was of such exemplary and powerful value. And the other promise that Jesus gives is, if you lose family because of this great calling that we are pursuing, you are promised 100-fold more of brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers will be provided to you in this age and the age to come. We have the promise of a family, and that's what the church is meant to be. It's meant to be our family, our refuge, where we can come. And that's why it's such a tragedy when the church malfunctions. It's the height of tragedy, because it's the place of refuge for us. We're supposed to come and be safe and be loved and be encouraged and be equipped. And sometimes it just doesn't operate like that, and that's a great sorrow. Well, tell me what your thoughts are on this. The teaching is clear. There's no way to soften it. All we can do is ask God, Lord, show me how to live this out, and give me the courage to pursue you with abandon, to put you as number one, and there is no number two. Love the Lord your God with everything.